Hi, this is Marcel of Marcel on Tech, and today we're talking about one of the best Android devices on the market at the moment. This is, of course, the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 5. This is the latest device. I was very lucky to get hold of one of the first retail products available from Amazon. It came included with a 45-watt charger, which is the fastest plug-in charger you can get. But with that crazy price tag that it comes with it, is this something you should consider, and is foldable tech ready for you to switch from your regular candy bar phone to something like this? Let's talk about it and get into it for the first 48 hours impression. Okay, so we're into it now. Here we are. We have got the Samsung Galaxy Fold 5. Now, the first thing we have to talk about, of course, is what is the main reason you're going to go for this phone? And the main reason you're going to go for this is this amazing screen. When you open this bad boy out, it makes a huge difference to the entire experience. Okay, so I'm going to talk about the pros first of all, as always, and then the cons, the things that I'm not crazy about. Now, the cover screen, we're going to get to that. It is a great screen to look at. It's 120 hertz, super duper, but it's all about this inside screen. To go around the design of the device, we've got a very similar setup to other foldable and regular candy bars, in that you've got, of course, got your antenna lines. You've got two speakers on one side there, which obviously allows for more surround sound. You've got multiple microphones located on the top side. On the underside, you've got another microphone, speaker, and USB Type-C, of course. And then, of course, you've got the fingerprint sensor and the volume rocker on the right-hand side, which works really well with nothing except the SIM tray on the left-hand side. So, design-wise, it's going to be about this screen, which is absolutely gorgeous. There isn't very much I can fault it on. Obviously, the layout, when you're holding it from an upright position like so, is going to result in you having bars top and bottom when you're watching media. If you turn it onto its side, it's got a much better aspect ratio for consuming media on YouTube, movies, and so on. But you will always have bars on the top unless you zoom in. Now, it will do that automatically as well, but you're, of course, cutting off either ends or the top of certain images. However, I cannot fault this screen. I love it. I love this image. There are lots you can use. You can use video wallpapers, but this screen is an absolute game changer, and it is quite literally a pleasure to open every single time, and you will never regret it, especially when you convert from a regular candy bar to the full screen beauty inside this device. You just can't go wrong. So it is absolutely fantastic. Now, of course, we then talk about the performance. This has the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 Galaxy version. So basically what Galaxy have done is spoken to the creators of the Snapdragon, which is Qualcomm, and they've souped it up, overclocked the power on this device, which basically means what that translates to you is that there are no glitches. This thing is quick. It works, everything opens super snappy. Of course, if you're connected to the internet or Wi-Fi or 5G, everything's going to be very fast. If those connections are weak, that makes it a little bit slower. But in every other regard, it is very quick, from uploading to downloading to processing images to creating video, things like that. Very fast indeed. And I've been so impressed and have taken some videos and photos, but not a huge amount. And a camera test can happen. Put a comment below if you're interested in a camera test of this device. What we know is it doesn't have the best cameras, but I'll get to that in my cons section anyway. Now, of course, Samsung didn't offer me this. Samsung, reach out to me if you want me to review your devices, but I had to pay for this and buy it. But we know that Samsung are pioneering this shape. And of course, they're one of the biggest global brands for foldable devices at the moment. But there are fast other companies snapping on their heels to really try and get at this market, which I think is only going to get better. It's only going to get bigger. So that is very exciting. But this candy bar shape for me is not the best. And I will talk about this a little bit more and why I have a problem with it. But when you open it into this, the real estate you get is so fantastic that the application of this in this open form is almost endless, from using it like a laptop to consuming media to video editing. This is the professional's device at the moment. That's very important to say, okay? So as a device, the form factor of this is very good. I wouldn't say it's the best one at the moment, but it's the best one available in this market. Now, as with all things in relation to the Samsung product and of course the price tag, the build on this just feels ultra smooth. It's a frosted back, no fingerprints whatsoever. I really like brushed metal, obviously, and it looks really cool. That hinge, the famous hinge there, is very, very tidy, seriously smooth, and I love the fact that it doesn't have a gap here anymore. For me, that was a deal breaker. That gap in between the two slabs was a complete deal breaker in terms of form factor, because dust always got in there and I was always worried that it was going to stay in there, sit in there. I live near the coast, so that's not good at all. Sand is your worst nightmare with a folding device if it can get in there. But because this now closes completely uniform, this is exactly where it should be. But this is only the first version with that happening. The other thing that I'm pleased about is that on Amazon, they actually offered this as a memory upgrade, just to mention. So I paid for the 256 gig, but I received the 512. So this has got over 0.5 terabyte worth of memory on board, which is super cool. And that unfortunately can't be expanded, but it is very, very good. Follow the links. I've got affiliate links in the description below. Make sure you get hold of one of those. There are other ones as well that even come with the pen, the charger, and this upgraded memory for around the same price, but they've been very, very popular. So this is a good deal at the moment, but what is a good deal? And let's get into the cons. The price of this device may take your breath away, because it did when I saw it. This is just under 2,000 euros, 1,909 euros I paid for it, which is a crazy amount of money for any phone. But you are getting a lot for it, but it's still way, way up there. At Samsung, I've got the biggest ask in relation to foldable tech, because they have got the biggest market share at the moment. And they're the only ones really in the West who are doing foldable phones. But hopefully that's going to change. With that price tag though, I did get the charger as I mentioned in the box, and I did also get a case which I bought separately. But the case did come separately. This is an aftermarket case that I use here, which is very much okay, but you can get Samsung's own ones as well. I couldn't get hold of one for me because it just wouldn't arrive in time. But this is very much acceptable and good. The build quality is good enough, but I would always want to put a case on it just because of the value of this product. It is a very, very expensive phone. Now, of course, always going to be a concern is that the inside screen could be a vulnerability because, of course, it's not glass. You do have Victus on the front and the back, which means that it is very, very durable. I've had zero experiences with scratching or anything, but I haven't had it very long at all. Of course, only in the first 48 hours, really, or just over. But it doesn't look like it's going to scratch easily. I have put a case on it on purpose. And of course, the biggest question is always going to be the vulnerability of the central screen if you're going to push too hard. But it does work with an S Pen. It's going to be a point of vulnerability because if you get things in there or if you push too hard, that could be a weakness. Plus, it does come with a built-in screen protector, which you can actually remove now, apparently. But I definitely wouldn't do that, and I've been perfectly happy with what it does have. It doesn't have a screen protector as standard on the front screen, so I probably will get one of those as well. So those would be advisable. It is a heavy phone. It's lighter, it's 10 grams lighter than the Fold 4, but it is a heavy phone. You definitely know that there's a wedge of metal and glass in your pocket when you're carrying it around. If you add on a case, it adds to the bulk. So it is a bit lighter, but it's still not quite where I would like it to be for comfort reasons, obviously. In terms of usage, when you've got it closed, it's quite easy to use with one hand. I've got big hands, so for me, the usage is easy enough on the front screen, but only with one hand. What I did want to say that was a big con for me is that with the narrow screen, it is too narrow for me to use two hands. I often make mistakes when texting or typing, and I don't have fat fingers. I'm very agile with the typing, to be honest. But I always make mistakes with this front panel. I had the same problem with the 3 and the 4, and I've got the same issue with this one, and it's because of the form factor. Now, when we open that up, you of course have got the keyboard on the inside where you can type away quite happily, but you've got the split keyboard, and there's a little bit of adjustment required for that. But it is not necessarily the most useful. The camera system on here is okay. I'm going to put this in the con section because in my mind, this should have the best cameras going for the €2,000 price range. For some reason, and even though this camera bump is a big camera bump, it's bigger than the 4, it's very much lifted away from the frame. Obviously, this has a lip on it to protect that, but if you don't have a case on it, you've got a camera bump there. There's no reason I can see why they shouldn't have put a better camera system on here. Now, you've got 50 megapixel camera lenses. I will include some of those brief shots. It's not a camera review, but it isn't quite as good as I think it should be. But you do get some amazing photos and videos, which you won't be disappointed with. But just because of the price, you should be getting the best that's available from Samsung. That's just the way it is. Then, of course, battery life is very good, to be honest. I've been able to get through a whole day on a full battery with heavy use. Now, admittedly, when you divide usage from the front panel to the inside, of course, you're going to be using much less battery on the main screen. So if you're using this throughout the day and then consuming media in the evening, you're going to have plenty of battery life. But if you're using the inside screen all the time, or during the day and the afternoon and the evening, you'll definitely find that this is a day-long battery. But if you use just the front panel for the majority of the day and only the inside for the evening, you're guaranteed you're going to get through at least a whole day, at least with 30%. But the one thing that I would say in conclusion is that the software for Samsung is one of my favorite Android skins of all the Androids. I think what One UI does is brilliant. And I'm a big fan. I've got the Samsung Watch. I'm still using my main driver as the Note 10 Plus. And this is obviously running the latest version of One UI 5.1, which is just brilliant. You've got the onboard deck system. Again, that's another video, which gives you so many options. There is so much functionality with One UI that not only will you ever get bored, you've got so much customization, you've got so much flexibility, you've got so much convertibility with Windows or with a separate laptop or with a separate screen and panel where you can plug it in or have a wireless connection, that the software for me, just like Apple, is almost 50% of the quality of this device. I think Samsung have absolutely blown the software out the park and have done really, really well to make not only just Android, because of its versatility, very good, to make this extremely functional. So One UI for me just keeps getting better and better and better in terms of usage, visuals, UI, functionality, speed, and efficiency. Of course, efficiency can always be improved upon, but this version of One UI is just fantastic. Now, does it mean you have to buy this device to get it? No, you don't have to buy a Fold to get that, because one of the weaknesses of Android overall is that the functionality on foldable screens is still not as good as it could be or should be, based on there not being that many foldable devices. But of course, they're increasing all the time. Samsung have been pushing much better adaptability. Android are also now, because of course Google have brought out their own folding device, which now means that much more modification and adjustment for app compatibility is going to improve with time. But it's still not perfect. So of course you won't get perfectly orientated apps. They don't all look amazing, which is a shame, but that's just the way it is. So in conclusion, should you buy this device? Yes. If you've got €2,000 burning a hole in your pocket, you definitely need a new, highly functional device that can be used in pleasure and for work-related purposes. If you want a very good camera, if you want an amazing panel, you want very good battery life, this is a great device. But if you don't like heavy devices, this won't work. If you don't like thick devices, particularly when folded, of course, this won't work. So there are few reasons why it's not going to work, aside from the financial one. But this is a fantastic device, complemented not just by its design, but by the software that is just brilliant. I love the software, but I don't like the front panel. It is just too narrow for me, and it's still a deal breaker because I don't like it to be so narrow. But I do love every time opening that front page, because when I do that and we look at it face on, this is a fantastic panel to look at and a fantastic device to use. So it's a tricky one. I would recommend it. You have to have the funds available. If you follow the links below, that would obviously be very, very helpful, but it's entirely up to you. Please do let me know your experience of having the Samsung Galaxy Z5. I will do more videos over time, but this is my first impression of my first 48 hours or just over with the device. If you've got any comments, put them in the below section. And of course, don't forget to like and subscribe, share it widely. And thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you very soon in the next one. Bye-bye for now.